we have some important stuff to talk about this week. Other than you got your new tires and wheels.
Tires and wheels, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we want to talk a little bit about AI ops. So, artificial intelligence for operations in data centers,
Yep.
and how the Ingenious Cloud uses AI to like kind of look for problems and prioritize data and things like that. It's pretty important because it's going to analyze traffic. It's going to show you where the problems lie in the network and maybe how to fix them. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we already started implementing this. We launched this what 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and we're doing it a lot around the Wi-Fi side, like the analytics of the Wi-Fi. But now cloud is it's not just Wi-Fi. It's now we're doing like switching, and we're doing Wi-Fi, and now we have an SD-WAN gateway as well. So this cloud infrastructure has this AI built into it, and we just continue to improve upon it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, when we start talking about the wired side with the gateway and SD WAN, it gets even more interesting because it can the AI ops can help prioritize traffic. If you have multiple gateways, maybe it could decide which gateway it's going to send traffic to or what type of traffic. So
Yeah.
it's making all these decisions behind the switches and the gateway to prioritize traffic in a better, smarter way.
Yeah. And the really nice thing with like something like our cloud system is that you have a full ecosystem. Like you have your gateways, your switches, your access points, even your client devices. So now we're looking at everything, right? So now we can make adjustments, or the AI system can make adjustments based off of, or it will learn and then make adjustments based off of what it's learned with the history of that whole network and multiple networks, really.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to prioritize voice and video traffic differently, maybe, and also in the future, it'll look at security. What's happening as far as security goes, firewalling and things like that.
Yep.
To
Yeah.
throw up alerts to the administrators. So yeah, that's coming, and it's been wrapped in the Genius Cloud since the beginning.
Yeah, and we just continue to try to improve on it. So that's something that we'll continue to push, and anything that falls under this ecosystem, this cloud ecosystem, will fall within this AI that we've implemented into the system,
Sure.
including the SD-WAN gateway. So,
Yeah, for sure. All right, so then next thing we want to talk about Wi-Fi 6 versus 6E versus 7. Like, what are the differences? So yeah, we're kind of talking about this earlier, and
yeah,
anyone that's putting out a new network right now, there's no reason not to use 6E, right? I mean, it's just better in every way, and it's backward compatible to everything else.
yeah. I mean, which Samsung version is 6E now? Is it the
I don't know if the
23, the
S twenty
S23?
one, S21, 23. I don't know what they're up to now, but
Can't remember the model number, but
yeah.
yeah, there's already what I was going to say is there's already devices that have it, and then there's talks of the iPhone coming out as well, right?
Yeah, so the new iPhone 15 is almost for sure going to have Wi-Fi 6E. So that right there we know is going to like boost take rate like crazy, right? So
Yeah,
and I mean like all new laptops have 6E, decent laptops will have 6E. Mine has it, yours has it. And we're
yep.
seeing these like huge speed increases by using the 6 gigahertz band right now.
Yeah, and you already talked about how easy it is to implement Wi-Fi 6E into your laptop, and it's very inexpensive as well, right?
Yeah, I mean if you wanted to upgrade your laptop and you're a little hands on, it costs you like $20 to upgrade the card to
Yeah.
6E. Just watch
Huge
those antenna
advantage for just
connectors.
20 bucks, right?
Yeah, it gives you a huge advantage because like it adds a lot more. So it adds reliability, speed, and just the ability to use new applications because you have capacity and better security, right? So
Yep.
so
Yeah,
it
anything that's Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
no, go ahead.
Anything communicating on 6
Yeah.
gigahertz or Wi-Fi 6E, let's just say that. you're using WPA3. So it's more secure, right?
It's
so
more secure, yeah.
You can't use a lesser security to communicate on that frequency band or that technology.
Right, so that's big. So if you were really, into security, you could set up a Wi-Fi 6E only network, which you are anyway on that band. It's it's 6E only. So you could set up an SSID that's only on 6 if you wanted to, right? 6 gigahertz, and that would be more secure than anything else because your client devices have to be updated to be able to even connect to that.
Yeah, and so you mentioned talking about the differences between the three.
Yeah.
Right. So Wi-Fi 6, right, is a protocol change. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is a protocol change where it makes the communication between access points and devices just more efficient, right?
Exactly.
And it gives us more capacity. It gives us the ability to have more devices communicating. So it's much more efficient. So that's Wi-Fi 6, right?
Yeah.
Would you say any more about that?
No, that's it. It was a protocol change, over Wi-Fi 5, 11 AC Wave 2 that, has faster theoretical speeds, more efficiencies built in, has more mechanisms for efficiencies and higher speeds and more possible clients connecting.
Yeah. And we saw a jump from the older technology, which I won't mention,
to
Wi-Fi 6. So there was definitely a major jump.
Yeah.
Overall performance with all the devices just got better.
It went up longer range. Yeah, Wi-Fi 6 automatically, even with older devices, it increased the range from what we saw. Yeah.
I mean, it increases, but not, I wouldn't sell it for range, right? I wouldn't go, hey, you need this because it's going to give you more range. But
right.
Yeah, for sure.
We definitely saw increased range over, even with like an old iPhone that had Wi-Fi 5 on it.
Yeah, so then we have Wi-Fi 6, and now there's Wi-Fi 6E, right? So Wi-Fi 6E is similar to Wi-Fi 6, right? But Wi-Fi 6E operates on a new frequency band, which is 6 gigahertz.
Right.
So Wi-Fi 6, when Wi-Fi 6 launched, it was operating on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. And we were way more efficient, we were performing better, everything was great. Then with Wi-Fi 6E, we add in a third frequency band, which is 6 gigahertz. So now we're operating on 2.4, 5 gigahertz, and now 6 gigahertz. That's Wi-Fi 6E, right?
Yeah.
Would you expand on that at all?
For sure. So Wi-Fi 6E is using the same protocol as basically a 6, but you have a whole new free band that no one else was using. So if you had interference before, on 2.4 and 5 with Wi-Fi 5 or 6, you have this whole new frequency band that you can use now as long as your devices support it. And it offers like much faster speeds than before.
Gigabit
speeds and much better reliability because nothing else is on it at this point besides Wi-Fi.
So really no interference depending on where you're at. I mean, really no interference in pretty much in every location.
Yeah. So I mean, Go ahead.
The really nice thing about that is that the channel and frequencies that you're using are much wider, so that's giving you the faster speed, right?
Right. There's a lot more channels available, and the chances that someone else are using those channels is greatly reduced. And in the enterprise environment or large business, you could use a lot more access points that are on their own, not overlapping channel.
Right. Exactly.
So any kind of mission critical or high performance application. Wi-Fi 6E for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And so right now we have Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E business class access points, the ECW 230, ECW 336.
Yep.
And there's no reason to not, if you have the budget, other than budget, there's no reason not to do the 336.
Yeah.
Because it's a tri-band access point. You don't lose anything. It just adds an extra band, right?
Yeah. Adds an extra band. You're still utilizing, you're using Wi-Fi 6, the newer protocol, the more efficient protocol, but across 3 bands now.
Right.
So if your client base is still operating on mainly 5 gigahertz
Mm-hmm.
and their Wi-Fi 6 client devices, they're going to operate on this access point, no
Right.
problem. Now you have another highway or another band that you can use for newer devices that are coming into your network. And as we mentioned before, laptops and phones, you can easily update a laptop to Wi-Fi 6E. Phones that are coming out are Wi-Fi 6E.
Yeah.
So you're just building in more pathways to communicate on a wireless network, and it's just way, way, way cleaner on Wi-Fi 6E.
You're future-proofing, and you can mix and match. There's no reason why you can't put a Wi-Fi 6 and a Wi-Fi 6 EAP next to each other, or put the 6 EAPs in the business office area where you're doing a lot of traffic, things like that, right?
Yep, or like in your Marcom group where they're passing large files or images and things like that. Maybe it's just for them. You put them on a separate SSID in that scenario, or like if you want your accounting office to be really, really secure, you put them on Wi-Fi 6E, put them on WPA3, like Enterprise, for example. Mm-hmm. They're on their own total different frequency. Everybody else is operating on the older frequencies, right? So they can't even communicate to that access point if they even tried, if you eliminate 5 and 2.4 on that AP in that particular location. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that device. And you can mesh on 6 gigahertz as well. So that's another option.
We don't recommend meshing often, but if you need to, I would do it on 6 gigahertz because there's no contending devices on it yet, and you'll probably get a really good experience. And one last thing,
distance is going to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was going to mention. The 6E 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi range is a little bit. It's a little bit shorter than 5 because the higher the frequency, the lower the radio signal travels. But what we've seen is since the frequency 6 gigahertz is so clear that even if you just have 1 bar, you're showing 1 bar on your laptop or phone for signal, it's still going to be way faster than if you had 3 bars on 5 gigahertz, right?
Yeah.
So if you install one of these and you're like, oh, I only get 1 bar, this isn't good. Do a speed test and see how fast it still is.
The dreaded speed test.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, I literally, on my laptop, the Wi-Fi signal, I had the dot. I didn't have the radiation. I had just the dot. And I was still doing around 250 megabits per second up and down. Yeah. And just with the dot, the radio wave. Without
and reliably. So you're getting that speed time and time again, whereas you could have 5 gigahertz and be at that same distance and be dropping signal because there's interference.
Yeah, so I was on a Teams call. Yeah. And it was totally fine.
Still good. So if you do upgrade and you see that the signal isn't as high, don't worry about it. Just try it. I've already had a couple people tell me that. So all right, so the last part of this is Wi-Fi 7. Everyone's hearing Wi-Fi 7's coming out. So what is Wi-Fi 7? I mean, what's the difference?
Oh gosh. So now Wi-Fi 7 is operating on 2.4, 5, and 6.
Same 3 bands.
Same 3 bands. Wi-Fi 7 changes, what it's communicating on. Not changing on, but the way it communicates, and it's using the 3 bands to be able to communicate and pass traffic. Yeah. So it gives you, even faster speeds because you can operate across these multiple bands, and you can onboard devices across multiple bands. So there's a number of different.
There's a bunch of new features. So with Wi-Fi 7, they're changing the protocol again. They're upgrading it. It's going to have more efficiencies, faster speeds, but it'll be backward compatible with Wi-Fi 6 and 6E still, right? It's using the same 3 bands. Like you said, the ability to combine all 3 to get even faster speeds, but some of this is like marketing hype, is what I'd say. I mean, it's going to be better for sure, right? Like we'll probably see range increases across all 3. If you're waiting for it, I wouldn't wait because you could install 6E access points now and then add Wi-Fi 7 APs later, and they're all going to play nicely together.
Right.
There hasn't been even a lot. Has there been any business class Wi-Fi 7 APs released that you know about?
No,
No. So it's
not
still in
yet.
the home
Not that I'm
router.
aware of, anyway. I don't
Yeah,
think
I mean,
so.
I see the home routers are getting released and things like that, and I don't even know about. There are probably some client devices that you can get too, but in where we play, it's not going to be out for a while.
I will say this though, I don't. It's not marketing hype.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're seeing gigabit speeds on Wi-Fi 6E.
Right.
You'll see multi-gig speeds on Wi-Fi 7. So you're really going to see some
Crazy
big
fast
increases in
speeds.
regards. It's using a faster QAM. It's using wider channels.
Yeah.
We're stepping into new ground, whereas like Wi-Fi 6E allows us to use more of the frequency band, so we can use up to 160 megahertz, whereas Wi-Fi 7, it gives you 160 megahertz, but also gives you 320 megahertz, which is, that's huge.
Huge frequency.
So you're going to get a ton of speed.
Ton of speed. And maybe more reliable because it can use all three bands, as far as distance goes and things like that. But we'll see there. What else? What else is it going to offer? I saw something else that when you say it's not hype.
Well, just RU.
Yeah. No. As far
function.
as yeah, I mean. But it's not here yet. I'm just trying to get across that there's no reason to wait for it.
The plan is to have Wi-Fi 7 by the end of the year, right? I think in general for everybody, business access points. But you also have to have, just like everything else, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E. You have to have a client device to be able to utilize that.
Right.
That new technology, right? So, and the business kind of application, you're not going to see it very quickly,
right?
But if you want to experience like what 6 gigahertz is, or that fast speed that we're talking about, that's why you would go to Wi-Fi 6E.
Yeah.
Or if you're trying to implement something where you're providing a company with expandability, right? Future proofing or whatever you want to call it. Wi-Fi 6E is really a really good pathway to be able to do that now. Even till, the beginning of next year, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you're offering an access point that has 3 bands, 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz. And companies can utilize it now. They can utilize it in a number of different ways. Like we said, you can update a desktop, you can update a laptop very easily and inexpensively to use 6E. So if you have a department that needs 6E, for example, it would be really easy to implement, inexpensive too.
And we really